your diet is not the only one. I mean, when it comes to research-based, if you are in a caloric deficit, you lose weight. But there are examples, although people are in calorie deficit, they cannot lose weight. I experienced it from past, especially one of my clients was the biggest problem that I had in the past, and I even guided her to get coaching from other people as well. So it's a very different and specific case, but in this case, in similar cases, people, especially who have not balanced neurotransmitter levels, are having these difficulties. And you are also suggesting nutrients according to their deficiencies. So let's talk about it a little bit more, neurotransmitter dominance and deficiencies.
Usually, when people lose their edge when it comes to brain function neurotransmitters, it's because their lifestyle. So, for example, people that doesn't sleep or people that do not eat properly create different deficiencies. So, one thing that I learned from Charles about the neurotype, and then I heard about Christian Thibodeau talking about that. They're very good on that, but the people that show me how to test for neurotransmitter is Wolfgang Umsoll, my German friend. So learning from him how to test, I started doing my own research, and I did it's not a fellowship, it's a certification in the Metabolic Medical Institute, and learn a little bit more deeper, but actually come to the same place. So your life, your biography becomes your biology. Exactly. So most of the people, for example, have so deep deficiencies of some neurotransmitters out of balance, or they're lacking of it, that just by intervention of their diet, the recovery ability, frequency about training, actually intensity, you need to take that in account too, and sleeping is not enough. So you need to try to back up with target supplementation to make more easier to people to a transition about creating these toxic habits or toxic relation with what they eat. Because most of the people choose what they eat in relation about their neurotransmitters. That's why so many people that go for a show, for example, they are so aiming in the show that can stick to the diet, but when it comes out of the show, they go binge and have all those carbs and get fat so fast because they create deficiencies. So it's very important to take this in account. Just by the diet, you can improve a lot, but some people are being for so long exposed to stress, different stress factors, that only by nutrition, just diet, it won't be enough.
It won't
be enough. So you need to get the right supplementation for that. If you want me to talk about something about that, for example, the best supplement actually for serotonin, it would be GABA, would be glutamine, empty stomach. So most of the people tell me what the main reason of taking glutamine. Actually, it helps recovery, but it reestablishes the balance in the GI tract and help to repair the GI tract, because actually it's a raw material to feed the bacteria that actually helps to produce serotonin. So it helps actually with anxiety. When it comes, for example, with dopamine, actually tyrosine or acetyl-L-carnitine and thiamine can help in that aspect. When it comes, for example, to acetylcholine, I learned this from the Wolfgang Umsoll. I can tell because actually it's the credit for him. It's about high fat consumption, especially saturated fat, increase acetylcholine. And especially people that is being a very low-fat diet start having issues with their brain function, like short memory or learning abilities, because acetylcholine is being compromised. So everyone is completely different. So people need to understand, in order to change for good, that you need to take into account all those aspects. When it comes from neurotransmitter, and neurotransmitter have a very direct relation with your GI tract health and inflammation. When you bring down inflammation just by the way right away, you become more anabolic because cortisol get under control and insulin go to where it's supposed to go to feed the muscle with what the things you're eating. So you need to learn that it's very important, and everyone is unique. Everyone is unique. But we are, as a species, as humans, we need to stick to the basic. Basic means eating real food that comes from nature in the way we're supposed to be. In the real meaning, complete whole eggs, red meat, And just to give the credit to, I got a big influence when it comes to rice and bodybuilding by the vertical diet or Stan Efferding too. So I like to give the credit to the guys that I get the idea how to go in my approach.
Awesome. So before we go on about talking about training, I want to cover the things that you don't suggest, especially in a diet. For example, at the beginning you mentioned some vegetable oils
to be removed.
Yeah. What are those inflammatory things or things that can harm the body?
Usually, I do believe it depends on the country, because when I was in Turkey, I found out that they don't use vegetable oils.
True.
So it's completely different. In the United States, everything has canola oil. Everything you eat, even things that you don't believe it has vegetable oil. It can be high fructose corn syrup, can be hydrogenated oils. All the stuff that are completely processed are not good for you and create inflammation. But it's better to look on what things are good for you. Things that come straight from the farm, like plant roots, rice, meat, real meat, any meat. Can be lamb, can be veal, can be beef, can be even pork. If you can tolerate it, it depends on your religion, I don't know, whatever you want, is good for you. What happens is this: once you start eating the right way, you remove the things that I told you before, or you try to just to stick to the basics, you can feel the benefits right away. It won't take longer. I have people in 3 or 4 days, they drop 4 to 6 pounds only by water retention in the GI tract, because they feel more leaner, and especially the waistline, the midsection goes smaller. Why? Because inflammation actually in our life, everything that is a stress for the body is inflammation. So having inflammation is not bad, because when you train hard, you create inflammation. But it depends on the status of other hormones. Inflammation can be overcome in a positive response to growth. But if you are too inflamed in your GI tract and then you take the right, you eat the right food choices, you cannot create the effect that you're expecting about growing and getting leaner.
Great. I also want to mention about calorie counting. So in the past, as a personal trainer, I wanted to do the best for my clients, and I was practicing what I learned from books on the theoretical part. So I was calculating protein amount, carb amount, fat amount. I was dividing into meals, and when I compare today what I learned from you, from Wolfgang, Charles, I wanted to credit them as well. And today I don't use that method. I don't count calories. So in the past I was doing it, and when I compare results today, we are giving in a shorter time more results. I mean, better results. So when it comes to calorie counting, Charles was saying it's moronic. He was giving an example, for example, for blueberries, when if it's raised very close to the sea level, or like higher than sea level, the antioxidant levels are different. So 100 grams of blueberries raised from different places, they are not the same. So it's the same for meat, for any vegetable. So for example, for red meat, it depends on how the animal eats, rested, etc. There are many stuff. So in your case, you don't count calorie, you don't use measurements a lot, even for waistline measurements. You say it creates stress. So let's talk about a little bit more on calorie counting, numbers. Why don't you use it? What you use it? Your approach.
There's sort of people that need to have control of what they eat. There are some people, by their personality, they make it stressy. They don't have control of what they're eating, right? So this is not fixed to everyone. I mean, it will work for everyone, but need to take into account people's personalities. But let's say you got someone that really counts calories that do not get results they're expecting. Sure, if you eat less and you eat less than you used to eat your fat, you're going to lose body weight. But we're aiming to improve wellness first, about healing the body, bring down inflammation, creating more anabolism, increasing insulin sensitivity. Let's say Edgar, that is over here with us, okay? Let's say he's having a physique, he's counting calories, he dropped body fat, he gained some mass, but he's not peaking peaking. He's not getting the results he's aiming. So he's hiding his potential. Why? Because the first step is not counting calories. It's repairing the GI tract, making the right choices of food. When he gets what he needs, depending where he wants to go, sure, maybe we can increase calories. We want to have an idea. So either you can eat more and see what happened to you in 1 week, and then you get feedback, because everybody is unique. I got a new rookie that is getting ready for the first show, Nicolas Burgos, for example. The guy is a machine. She's having like a 4,500, 5,000 calories a day. He's not gaining as much weight as expecting.
Yes.
Why?
How old is he, 21?
He's 21, but he's trained like a horse, you know what I mean? So he's spending a lot of calories. So the thing is that we need to have an idea. So increase his calories about getting more carbs, and maybe sometime, because he cannot support eating like that, because actually he's still living with the parents, he can have in top of every meal 2 bananas, red bananas, to increase calories. And he's still getting leaner and bigger, sure, because his metabolism is unique. So for some people, you need to have calories. But when you are aiming someone to improve their actual status, remember, it's not what to do, it's what to remove. So when you remove those stuff, they're going to show their true potential. So you get people that do not count calories and start getting leaner. Let's go for example so people can understand. My brother Miguel, I'm 16 years older than him. So he's a typical guy, tall, handsome, you know what I mean, like party a lot. So he doesn't care about the way he looks like. Yeah, sure, that was before. So he got tired of being tall, skinny with fat, with belly. He's a skinny with belly. So he said, hey, let me try your diet. So he dropped from 36 inches of waistline to 31 in 2 months, and dropped almost no body weight. He said, I don't know what's going on. I'm getting leaner and leaner and leaner. My pants are getting looser. I have more stomach, a flat stomach. I got no inflammation. I'm sleeping better. I'm performing better when it comes to sex. And actually the scale is the same. Why? Because he's dropping back inflammation. He's becoming more anabolic naturally. So as James Laval said, muscle is your longevity and metabolic currency. If you're inflamed, you have less money in the bank. Your currency is lower. Just by bringing down inflammation, you're going to gain muscle. Doesn't mean you're going to become bodybuilder, but at least you regain some muscle that you'll be losing for the decision of the food that you're eating. Now he started lifting weight, he needs to eat more. So the thing is, most of the people, even counting calories, they are hiding the true potential because they're inflamed. So there's room for counting calories, but it's not the answer for everyone. Sure, if you're repair, you eat clean, for example, as you do with a diet that is phenomenal for me is the vertical diet from Stan Efferding. Sure, because his approach is very similar, because he take things that are inflammatory to your GI tract are not good for your GI. So a lot of people improve mobility, all the stuff. Then, if you want to gain muscle mass, or if you're taking anabolics, or you're training really hard, you need to increase a lot of your calories. You need to have an idea.
Exactly.
But for a regular
in the first meal, he also suggests rice.
Sure.
As well.
So the thing is that most of the people counting calories is a stress.
Sure.
So everyone is unique. Your biography becomes your biology.
There isn't one way to do it, and especially this is something I learned from you when it comes to nutrition. Making general suggestions may not work
for everyone.
For everyone, it must be individualized. So let's start with training part. So what types of training do you recommend to people? For example, let's start with frequency. How many times do you suggest? Of course, even if they train 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, they're gonna make improvements. But in your perspective, what do you suggest? What is the best version? If they cannot do it, what is the second, for example?
If you're a bodybuilder, you eat well, you sleep well, and you recover fast, and you don't use maximal load, you go more for accumulation, you can train even daily. Depends how much do you eat. If you eat properly, if you are carb sensitive, if you sleep well, you can train 6-7 days a week.
So if you work from 9 to 5, and you want to drop some body fat, let's say people from general population.
Most of the people that eat no, in my approach, I do recommend 2-3 sessions a week because you can improve as much as you recover. If you don't sleep well and you have food that inflames your body, usually training cannot be that hard and long. So frequency should be very low. And if you need for any certain way a huge amount of frequency, intensity should be lower and volume per body part should be lower. So let's figure out someone that is trying to change their body. Let's say someone that comes to my consult, right? Usually my first approach, depending on what they eat, their nutritional status, how hydrated they are, it can be every other day initially. So everyone is unique. I get people like only with one session every 2-3 days, they do better than every day. I got people that need 2 sessions a day. It depends. Everyone is unique. So when it comes for training, it comes to the same. Your biography becomes your biology. If you come to me and actually I do approach to you about doing the overhead squat and I find out that we need to address some issues when it comes to your joints, maybe you can do more frequency because we're going to do more mobility at the beginning. But when you become stronger, that you put a lot of stress in your nervous system, you can go less frequent, let's say like 3 or 4 sessions a week. So everyone is unique. And when it comes to program design, there's no fucking way, and I'm sorry about that, listen to this, there's no fucking way to plan for 2-3 fucking years in a row. So sometimes you plan some accumulation or hypertrophy for 4 weeks, but you find out these guys do not create their full potential in 4 weeks. You need to repeat accumulation, changing maybe other exercise or pairing different muscle groups. So there's no way. You can have an idea how to plan someone, but actually the best plan always gonna change 80% of the time. So everyone is unique. Let's say Edgar, let's use Edgar, he's over here. Let's say he's willing to train. And then he can train, like, for example, 4 times a week. But I find out after 3 weeks, his performance is lowering. It's dropping. And I found out he stopped getting leaner. Why? Because he's not recovering. And if he trains and not recover, inflammation, goes up. Cortisol goes up. Insulin goes up. Insulin resistance go up. Sensitivity goes down. How he start getting issues like holding water, retaining water. He's not losing. He's lose motivation about training. So everyone is unique. Again,
like in nutrition part, listening to the body
is paramount. Most of the people stop listening to the body because the body get tired about talking and they do not listen.
Awesome. Let's give some real life examples. For example, when it comes to body transformation, some people are more willing to lose fat. When it comes, for some people, it's more about gaining muscle mass. So let's say for males, okay, when it comes to hypertrophy, so to increase lean muscle mass, what do they need to prioritize?
When it comes to training or comes to nutrition?
Let's talk about training first and then cover the nutrition part for hypertrophy.
It depends. Someone that is new need to create more neuromuscular coordination. So it needs to go more mechanical tension, like more chin-ups, basic stuff, you know what I mean? With a lot of tempos, I mean, the tempos and the execution cannot be as fast as possible because most of the coordination come first for the eccentric portion, the negative one, and then in the positive one is when you coordinate to push with the right muscles. So you can put the stabilizers in the right place. So everyone is unique. Let's say someone that has some experience in the past. So actually if that person is strong enough already, we need to create more specific adaptation, more isolation at the beginning of the workout and more basic at the end. If someone, there's a quote that I like to tell, is about Milos Rasev approach. He said, the only way to grow is working out of your comfort zone. So you need to find out first the capability of someone and where is his comfort zone. Then you need to take them out of the comfort zone. If someone is strong, maybe needs more reps. If someone is very efficient in high reps, they need to get stronger. So that's the way it works like.
Okay, so of course, there will always be something very specific according to the goal, their current status, and their capabilities, their training backgrounds, how advanced they are. But for example, we know that when it comes to hypertrophy, you always emphasize the importance of having frequency like especially at least 2 times if you can do it, if you 3 times weekly. So frequency is more important, but while doing this, considering recovery always, as you mentioned, for nutrition part, especially in your approach, you're a big fan of carb, and this is something I also learned from him. Before last year, I was here for internship. Charles referred me to come to Dominican Republic, and thanks to him and Carlos Castro, we started to emailing, and then we started to like a mentorship program from online, and a couple of months later I was here. Before I started to work with him, I was always afraid of eating carbs. Whenever I go diet like low carb or keto, I was like shredded. But when it comes to increase muscle mass, I learned 2 important things: the consumption of carbs and the importance of execution. Matching the energy system that you use in training and how much carb that you're using, it's related. So I would like you to cover this part, especially when it comes to carb consumption. There may be people who may think carb is not necessary because everybody say anything.
Okay, it's very simple. I like to go straight to the point. So someone, for instance, a beginner, the worst thing you can do is try to become stronger right away. Sure, just by lifting in any rep bracket, you're gonna become stronger one way or another. But you need to focus to learn how to lift in order to activate the right muscles. Because anyone who start lifting want to look good naked. I see a lot of people that go to the same seminars. They look like they never been lifting weights because they have no muscles. It's good. They are supposed to be stronger than they used to be, but this is not the main goal. You should go for lifting to growth, and then you should use maximum strength in order to increase what is called the strength deficit, in order to grow more. But this is something more deeper. What really happens is that the only way to grow, you need to start first for accumulation. Accumulation means create the capacity of the muscle to put more glucose and put more nutrient after training. So the more carbs you have, the longer you're gonna be able to train, the more volume you're gonna be able to handle. The more volume, the more you're gonna grow. And most of the people, they usually starve themselves, because when you train with weights and you try to become bigger, the main source of those muscles for contraction is sugar and carbs. So being away from carb is a big mistake. So for sure, having carbs all the meal is not the solution, but you need to learn how to use them on your favor. So if you train for size, you need to eat carbs, because especially when it comes to protein synthesis, when it comes to the muscle, you potentialize only those aminos to long enough to become bigger just by the action of insulin.
Great. And what do you think about, I would like you to mention the differences between male and females training. How do they respond differently during the training? So what are your opinions about that?
Females.
Let's say the question for females, what are the differences when you compare with the male program?
Usually females respond better to more volume, more volume than males. That's paramount. And more volume, more frequency usually. They recover faster. For something that I learned from Charles is that because their makeup, when it comes to their fibers as females, usually they're not efficiently when it comes to, there's some exceptions, but usually not. So females respond better for more volume and more frequency. Men usually respond better for more intensity, but not that much frequency. That's the biggest difference between among them.
Anything you want to add after this? Especially a resistance trainer like lifting, let's say. I would like you to mention
usually people need to stick to the main reason why they join a club, they join a personal training studio, they join any place that where you're going to be lifting, getting under the bar or lifting dumbbells. It's to improve what you call body composition or look better naked. The main reason why you're going to get more functional is not about lifting only heavy, it's about the kind of exercise that you choose to perform in order to improve. So functionality is different aspect. For JC, Simó, functionality comes from being capable to grow your back doing more chin-ups and not a lot of pull-downs. That's the big difference. Functionality comes not from doing hack squat or leg press, doing more full squat. Depends what you're aiming for, from heavy or more high reps. So that's what I call functionality. So if you're gonna train for high reps, it's very important to understand what really takes when it comes to nutrition. Training high reps, volume for size without carbs is like doing business to lose money.
Great. What do you think about the timing, training timing? I know that especially the approach when you think about to combine the principles that you gain from functional medicine perspective, like neurotransmitters and nutrition stuff, but when it comes to training, there is also effect of neurotransmitters. So we were told last day, we were talking about a person when they train in the morning, we want them to have like high dopamine and acetylcholine levels, but and they if they have this routine like closer to bedtime, they will be like up at the beginning, and it will disrupt the sleep quality, right? So when it comes to training, let's say for fat loss, do you think it matters a lot what time they train?
It's going to be dictated by many factors, especially sleeping quality, actually nutrition approach. Someone that trains in the morning, actually empty stomach, will increase a lot of insulin sensitivity. But if that person, for example, for a job or sleeping quantity, you want them to sleep more, it can be another day of the day, another moment of the day. But the thing is that the earlier it is, the better for dopamine profile. The later you need to use a lot of strategies in order to bring down cortisol and dopamine and bring down serotonin. So that's another issue, very complicated. But the thing is this: people should train at the moment that is not representing a lot of stress for them, especially for that, because there's nobody like someone that makes millions as a baseball player. Usually will go the moment that you know is better for him. Usually will be 3 hours after awakening, maximum 12 hours after this waking time in the morning. That's the best moment to train because you got more awareness on your nervous system, all the stuff. So, but everybody's completely different. So that's why learning how to manipulate carbs in order to bring down nervous system, maybe use phosphatidylserine, maybe use high dosage of vitamin C, maybe using 5-HTP. There's so many tools you can use in order to bring the effect that you want in someone that maybe is not living in the perfect world to train in the morning to increase dopamine. So usually you should train in an aspect at the moment that actually do not create extra stress for increase what is called inflammation, as I told you at the beginning. Okay.
Awesome. What about doing cardio? I know that you're not such a person like ignoring things or like very radical about your approach when it comes to different cases. You always like very flexible. So you're not against. I know that you're not against cardio, but when you think about a person from general population, they don't have a lot of time, and when you look at them, when especially in commercial gyms, they're spending a lot of times on treadmills, cardio machines, or like running outside to lose weight. So until this point, whatever we talk about, nutrition, supplementation, neurotransmitters, training, etc., etc. Now I would like to add another piece of the puzzle, cardio training. So what do you think about that?
First of all, people need to do what they make them feel happy. If you're happy with the cardio, keep doing it. If you're doing cardio and you're not getting the result that you want and you feel happy, you're stupid. Because actually you're losing your time, you're investing your time is to get results. So I'm oriented to results. I got some people, for example, that cannot afford training more than 4 times the week, out of every week, on lifting weights or doing something like resistance. So I do recommend them to do some cardio, but especially out of like equipment. So let's say it's rainy or where you live is very snowy, snowing, so maybe you can do some treadmill. But I do believe you will need to bring balance to your life. In my case, none of my clients that actually pay full training with me do cardio at all. For sure, some people that have a profile or neurotransmitter that is very dominant on dopamine and actually have too much dopamine at the end of the day, I do recommend swimming for 20, 30, 40 minutes because swimming is very good to increase serotonin. So everyone is unique at the game. But it depends on your goal. It depends from where you come from. It depends where you are. It's going to dictate how you're going to do exercise. Doing something that doing nothing is better, especially if you enjoy. If you don't love to do cardio, you don't have to do cardio. There's so many things you can do. There's some people actually that don't like to do weights. So for those people, cardio is good. But you need to take this in account. Doing exercise for longevity is not the same that doing exercise for performance. It's not the same that doing exercise for looking good. When it comes to exercise, you need to cover all those three aspects, but when it comes to become better for performance for sports, not necessarily come to enhance with longevity and health.
No doubt. So anything you want to add on this?
No, I do believe it's perfect for today. It's a lot of things to cover, but it will be a starting point for us. And actually, thank you for being here. And actually, looking forward for our next podcast when it comes to English version of Healthy Living with Juan Carlos Simó. Thank you very much, and actually, see you in the next one.